growing up, you see a lot of children whose parents did not know any better than discipline them with using different kinds of things, throwing broom or turning stick, different kinds of things, all in the name of discipline. So now, in this new age, people are coming out to tell us that, oh no, none of those things were actually discipline. That it was just abuse. And because these parents did not know any better, that is why. But are we still going to hide under this old school parenting and say maybe this was what this man was doing? Because how are you bringing a hammer and a knife anywhere close to children?
I do not agree that is a form of old school parenting. This is hammer and knife. It totally different. No place at all. Because using hammer on just an adult alone,
why would you have to use hammer on a person? Why would you have to use the hammer on a person?
Hammer is a deadly weapon, whether we like it or not. So we can't use it as a case study of old parenting at all. This is just a clear case that parents can also abuse their children. And the fact that kids may not be safe with their parents. Yes, because sometimes when we go to the police station and we tell them, oh, this is the case of maybe this father, they'll be like, your dad is just training you, or your mom is just training you. No one wants to listen to you. You understand? But they don't know that sometimes kids are not safe with their
own parents. Yes. So why I was laughing the other time because it's the fact that imagine just walking into a police station to complain, saying that, oh, my mom abused me, she did this and this. I'm very sure the officer will just look at you and be like, your mom abused you.
Or you spoiled brat.
Yes, maybe you don't spoil, they won't correct you, or just go home. Just disregard however you. But with more and more incidences coming up, people coming out to speak their truth, even children complaining, shows that some of these things actually are not, it's not the whole discipline thing. Some other things have gone down, honestly.
So I want to address that point about if you go to the police station and you report your parents. I think it shows a gross lack of education or knowledge, if you please, whatever word you prefer, on the part of the police. This is why when somebody said, when people go and report that they're being raped and they're being molested,
that go home.
Exactly. That the police really understand what it means to say, oh, I was raped, I was molested. Do they really understand what it feels? Are they just going to say, oh, it just happened now, forget about it, don't worry. It was all in God's plan for you. It will train you to be a stronger person. So now be quoting, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
No.
So if you take this case now to the police station and say, my mother threw her phone or my father threw his phone at me and it cost me this big bruise on my head. If that was in any other country, automatically, and this is why even Nigerian parents, when they go abroad, they know better. They know If you say your child misbehave, you won't slap her for face, and you know how to control yourself. This is the worst thing that can happen is slap if everything is together. Now say the finger of the parent go show for your cheek. So already, nobody say any major injury, but just that alone, if you take that to the police station, you already know that your parent is in trouble. So are we saying that? Do they have the tools? Do they have the knowledge to know that even when you report your parent, now this is not to say your parent cannot discipline you, but when you report your parent that they have, particularly when they've gone overboard. You know that they've gone overboard.
Yes.
Do the police know enough? Do they have enough education to know that this is beyond discipline?
Can they even tell what is discipline and what is abuse?
Exactly. So that's a question, and that is something that I think they need training on. They need training. They need sensitization on.
Another thing you raised there, Tao, looking at the fact that Nigerian parents, when they move to like other climes, they know how to comport themselves. You see a parent talking to a child, I'm going to discipline you, I'm going to all lip service. They will not be able to do anything abroad, hoping that when they come back to Nigeria, they're going to be able to flex all of the muscles they could not flex and all of them. I know my mom was somewhere rolling her eyes at me like,
you will come back home.
But all the same, when you travel abroad, they cannot do this. But when they come back, is it because our laws are not stiff enough? Is it that we really do not follow through these things? Is it why they can do these things and get away with it?
I think it's just because the society accommodates such behavior and such act. Because normally, even they've experienced it from their own parents, and they know the trend. They think, so they already feel like you can't just remove that from proper training of a child. But when they go abroad, they feel like, okay, so this is different. Let me adjust society that they do. Control myself, know what to say to a child, know how to treat a child, know when my hand should land on you and when not to land on you. You keep your hands to yourself. Okay. But when we come to Nigeria, anything that happens, a police officer seeing you on the road, beating your child, even thumbs up.
I also think there's a huge cultural and religious factor that plays here. That plays out here. Now, for Christians, they would lean on spare the world and spoil the child. For Muslims, it's obvious that they also encourage a level of discipline.
Yes, in that form.
Yes, in that form. Yeah. And the cultural part of it is they will tell you that if you don't train your child, somebody outside will train you. Yes. And when they say train, a lot of it has to do with references to beating your child. Yeah. As a matter of fact, if you don't beat your child, if I don't know if you've ever been to homes where their parents don't beat them, there's a larger perception that these children are spoiling.
No budget,
that they spoil you, they take your phone, naughty corners, those kind of things. They're like, budget, they will be rotten. Why? Because they don't recognize all those that you can properly raise a child aside beating. They don't recognize it. So that's what I'm saying. There's a large percentage of in fact, there's a larger cultural and religious factor that plays out here, which is why in Nigeria it's normal. For instance, years ago, my cousin did something when she was abroad. Okay. And her father slapped her twice. Her father is Nigerian who just went, for better life, that kind of thing. And he slapped her. In her, I think 16 years at that time, he had never put his hand on her. He always threatens, like always. So that day he catch you. That day, you know that you cannot. That day he came prepared, and that tells you that what she did was major. She called the police on her dad. They took him to jail. He spent the night in jail. In fact, his one phone call in jail, he called my mom here in Nigeria
to report.
He didn't call his wife. Wow. He didn't call anybody there that, okay, I'm in jail, you'll come and get me. He called my mom.
He's trying to understand, like, my child did this.
And he told her that once I get back, Damola is coming back to Nigeria. That's funny enough. That is a trend that African parents give their kids over there. That's the first thing. She spent 2 years here, and that 2 years, every day we will call her. And one time he came and he told her that because in schools, they don't used to look face and that if you do any they'll beat you water. I think that is a major threat to parents. Exactly.
I'll bring it to Nigeria. So even
if he didn't bring her, I think if he had really stuck to that threat, it would have been threat enough for her to sit
put herself together and behave properly. All right, thank you very much, ladies. Yes, thank you so much, ladies. And I'm really thankful that NATIP in Enugu State has picked this case up, and I hope that these children will go through the proper rehabilitation and therapy that they need, because no child, I repeat, no child deserves to go through that under the guise of discipline or correction or proper grooming. Please, not at all. It is 19 minutes past 9 on your Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is Panorama. Panorama is where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. My name is Esther Alaribi, and I've been speaking to Somto Titilayo Ajama and Taiwo Adeleye on the Salah edition, special edition of Panorama today. Now, the phone lines are open. You can call us up on 07000 917 917, 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. And you can listen to us live from any part of the world at www.wfm917.com. And if you want to see what we look like right now in the studio, you can go on our Facebook and YouTube page at wfm917.com. Now, just to remind us that at 11 a.m., Women Radio 91.7 will be having a conversation themed A Unified Nigeria in Challenging Times of Insecurity. And this conversation is going to be via Zoom, but it's going to be broadcasted live here on radio at 11 a.m. and Facebook and YouTube at WFM 917. And this time where we find ourselves, it's only pertinent that we get to have this kind of conversation, this kind of discussion to remind us of the need to work together for a common goal, and which is what we are looking out for, and we'll be having such conversations. Send us your comments or your reactions in the course of the conversation on 070 317 56537. 070 317 56537. Now let's quickly go over this one. This particular one. So this interview with actress Juliet Ibrahim, where she went ahead to make it known that her ex-boyfriend used to lock her up and sexually assault her daily. Now, a lot of people do not know that even though you are in a relationship with somebody, going against that person's consent or will to do stuff with that person,
it's rape.
Is rape. And this was the clear picture of what actress Juliet Ibrahim went through. She said even at some point that this guy will lock her up in his house. No access, you cannot go out, you cannot do anything until her sister would come to the house to look for her. And this guy kept on sexually abusing her. But this guy, from the story, it seems like this guy did not know any better because they were in a relationship. So because you are in a relationship, you think you have access to my body and you can do anyhow you please simply because you're in a relationship. I mean, that relationship already has red flags everywhere flying all around it already. So
I agree completely. There's a part in this story that says the later part that says she was scared, she was uncertain of what to do because this guy was huge and taller than her. He could raise you above the wall. And imagine that this was every day. Every day he wanted to do something. So you can tell that this person has a huge sexual appetite. And already this person is not just taking advantage of your body, but he's taking advantage of your mind as well, because he's locking you up. You have no access.
She's intimidated. She's scared already.
And then every time she's in his presence, she already knows that this is going to happen because this is an everyday thing. So I don't know if she was Juliet Ibrahim at the time
when this happened.
I don't know if she was popular actress Juliet Ibrahim at the time. But this just tells you that this happens to even so-called popular people who are big and all of that. But another thing I want to mention is where she says that is rape. That is rape. But who do you go and tell? Who will come and fight for you? But she now says, ladies, you can report it now. Yes. If your husband is forcing you to do things, even when you're not in the mood, it is rape. And I tell these men, you cannot force a woman. This is the message she's trying to pass across. But then it's because a lot of people still in today's world, it will amaze you how many married women. I'm even going to marriage now because relationship for me. I'm even wondering how you're in a relationship. This is happening to you, and you're still there. Now, the answer for me might be that you may not even know that what the person is doing is rape because you're under the guise of a relationship, which is why she said you need to know that whether or not you're in a relationship, it really doesn't matter. This person is saying is doing something against your consent, so automatically it makes it rape. But a lot of times, because when it transcends to marriage now, people now say at least he's your husband, he has control over your body, you're his property, he's your property as well. So even if he's not interested and you say you want to do by force, you have rights to do that. And if you say you don't want to do, but he says he wants to do, he has rights. But what they don't know is that they're continually propagating the message of rape without knowing. It's just basic abuse. You're infringing on that person's rights. You're taking control over their body, even without their consent, and that makes it rape. And I think the more we talk about it, that it happens in relationships, it happens in marriages. The more people are aware that once you say no, regardless of whatever it looks like, whatever the relationship status looks like.
See, sometimes
it's just no. Simple.
Sometimes when some people get to talk about their relationships with me and they mention certain things, in my head I'm like, red flag already. Why are you still there?
Everywhere.
Red flag, why are you still there? But when you get to hear the kind of excuses that these people make, you just be like, wait, am I the one that's am I the one that's problem? Am I the problem? Yes, am I the problem? Am I the one saying things wrongly, or this one is actually wrong? Because clearly,
it's out there.
There is no relationship in this thing, Taiwo.
There is none.
Because
sometimes it's just that there's a thin line a very thin line between
compromising in relationship
and
taking advantage of-
actually being aware that what is going on is rape. Just like what Somto said, because we are married or because we're in a relationship, we feel like, okay, it's your right to get this every time you feel
No,
like
it's not.
sometimes people just don't know that what is going on is rape to them. The perpetrator may not know, the victim would not know also. So I think we should always just keep, educating people that when a woman or when a man says no, I'm not interested in this, at that point, let him go.
I want to say something about this lack of awareness.
Okay.
I was at a cyber cafe one time, and the Sola Dakolo situation back then was the topic of conversation. And then he was making several references that was just continually annoying me. I'm like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Like, what are you really saying? And at a certain point, I told him, look, what you may not realize is the truth of the matter is, if you say certain things, and even if the girl seduced you, if she seduced you and say, you know what, I want us to, let us. And at a certain point in the middle of the whole thing, she says, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Just stop. Forget that she was the one who initiated it. Just stop. It's still a no. And the guy was like, no, now, what does that mean? Are you saying that everybody I've been with now? And I'm like, apparently that's what you do. So meaning that what you're doing, uncle, is rape. And just in case you didn't know, you know.
Another point is, you see those ones that would apply pressure. And please now, it won't take long. Don't do it.
He said that he's persuading you.
No, don't do it. And so some people when a woman says no, she means yes. Oh my dear, I never said that.
But at least you started this.
No, I never said that. My yes is my no. And we're still going to talk about this because it's not just affect the sexual part of this relationship. Sometimes in other things that you do, before you know you are compromising, you're shortchanging yourself because you want to be in that relationship. Before you know, you're losing your own value. You're losing your value, you're losing your person, you're losing every single thing that you stand for because you want to be with this person. And for me, I feel like any partner I'm going to be with, that you cannot tick certain box in my checklist without me having to make excuses for you for one of them. See, my dear, I'm just going to say carry your kaya and do what? I'm big going. Alright, this is Panorama on Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is the Salah special edition with my humble self, Esther Alaribi, and Sonto Titilayo Adama. The phone lines are open, 07000 917 917. You can also send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. This is Panorama.
Come on, Lagos. We're turning it all the way up. You know what it is. On WFM 91.7.
At ShopRite, get all the essentials your family needs this Ramadan, like 2 whole chicken at 2,299 naira, 99 kobo per kilo, and 12 biggie 500 ml.
Affects you and your community. Send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537.
Uncle Dentist, what are cavities? And how does Colgate protect my teeth from cavities? Does it use
No, dear. Most tooth pains are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula blocks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavities.
It's time to upgrade to the world's most trusted toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Colgate is recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.
Sunana Maryam Ahmad Rufa'i, kuma zan rika gabatar muku da shirin Maryam Mata. Shirin Maryam Mata zai rika zo muku ne daga gidan rediyo Mata, wato Women Radio, mita 91.7 a duk ranar Laraba misalin karfe 2 na rana, da kuma Liberty Radio mita 103.3 duk ranar Litinin da karfe 9 na dare. Ku kasance da ni Maryam Ahmad Rufa'i domin tattaunawa akan lamuran da na shafi mata da bangarorin tattalin karfafa arzikin dogarar da kai, sa hannu a siyasa, harkar tsaro da ci gaba da duk lamarin da na shafi mata da yara mata a arewacin Najeriya. Shirin muryar mata zai ci gaba da zo muku ne daga gidan rediyo Mata wato Women Radio a mita 91. Karfe biyu na rana duk ranar Laraba, kuma a Liberty Radio ita 103.3 ranar kun Litinin karfe 9 na dare. Za ku ji lokacin shiri ɗin ranakun Lahadi karfe 9:55 na safe. Muryar mata, muryarki, ƙarfinki.
The big question.
Corruption is, in fact, is increasing more. We never had a snake and swallow money.
Why?
Everything has increased.
Conversation on controversial and borderline disruptive. The big question.
Mondays to Fridays, 12:05 p.m.
On your Women Radio, WFM 91.7.
Keep it loud. Turn your radios up. Whoa. WFM 91.7.
Yes, and we're back here on Panorama. Panorama Women Radio 91.7 is where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. And today is the Salah Special Edition. It is 29 minutes to 10 on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Now we're going to talk about how some people, because now it is not just ladies, but most especially ladies, because the society has put in this kind of standard of pressure on women to want to conform to what they think. You hear things like, you're a woman, you should not be this. You cannot be talking. No, because I'm a woman, that's why I want to talk like this. That is why I want to talk like this. I want to sound like this because I am a woman. I should be able to decide where my stands are. So I was having a conversation with somebody one time, and the person went on to tell me, no, you have too many strong opinions. You're too opinionated for a woman. I'm like, okay. so wait. Because I am a woman, I should allow you decide for me what my opinion should be. No, it should not be so.
Or when a man is disrespecting you and you're also doing the same to him, they feel like, you don't talk to a man like that.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. I'm not just going to say anything on this one because you actually don't want to be rude to me under the guise of being a man. You don't want to be rude to me in that please don't do it.
But you find that women hardly say that to men.
Like,
women hardly say,
a woman, you cannot
and this happens even in places of worship. This happens in
even on the road.
It happens even on the road. It happens even with children. Even with children, you don't talk to him like that. And a man, don't talk to him like that. He's a boy. He's a boy. Don't talk to him like that. And I'm like, so hello, he can talk to her like that way. So that tells you that even parents need to know better. Parents need to educate their male children and their female children. Talk to everybody with respect. With respect. If you have an opinion, be assertive. Don't cower because you don't want to say certain things. And you know, this affects women at work a lot of the time. Yeah. And it's called imposter syndrome for a lot of people. And you want to assert yourself, say certain things. They see you a certain way. They're like, you're a woman, you shouldn't be talking. Please. I will say what I want to say when I need to say it. Sometimes you are directed, make it sound like you're rude. It's as simple as that. And women never say, "Oh, the man was rude." Yeah. They're like, "But you shouldn't have spoken that way. You shouldn't have spoken that way." I think we women from the family, sometimes you don't know any better when you're younger because of what, like Taiwo said, what has been handed down to you. But with exposure, with education, you know better. And when you're in a position where you can say, "Oh, Taiwo, please don't say that. Let her say what she needs to say. Let him say what he needs to say without condescending." Without speaking condescendingly to the other person. When you have an opinion, assert yourself, say what you need to say, and move on.
So I remember one time, the phone lines are open 070-17917, or you can send us a text or WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. So I remember this practical one that happened to me, personal experience. So there was this stuff that had to do with a guy, and there was this older lady who was supposed to be like overseeing what we were doing and all. I noticed the way this lady would not have any issues when the guy is challenging her or talking to her. But the minute I tried to do the same, "Oh no, you cannot talk to me like that. Oh no, this. One day I said I was going to take my time to actually listen to their conversation. this guy will make his point, and be like, okay, no problem if that's what you think. But if I say the same thing, like, no, maybe because I am a lady, I have to listen to you. That very day, I told myself, see, this is it. This is it. You are going to stand up and speak for yourself, and this is what it's going to be. And so, personally, I was raised to respect older people a lot. So sometimes when older people do certain things, I'm not going to let it slide because why? You are older.
Your home training.
Will not let me. Home training will not let me. I will just let it slide because you are older. But as I grew older, I just realized that people will not understand it that way. They will drop a lot of things at your table, and because you are taking it. So that day I had to tell this older lady that I have noticed so many times that you do not talk to this colleague of mine like this, the way you talk to me. And we get to say the same thing. We get to say the same thing over, like, almost all the time, same opinions, but you always let it slide with him. Why is it that you get to treat him like this? Guess what the response was? You're a lady like me, I should be able to understand my own point of view. Now men will not understand. So at that point I said, okay, because it's not even going to work anymore. This is what, and from that day, I just made it up in my head. I was going to define whatever it was from that moment. You will not treat me any less because I am a lady. You will not want to be call my being assertive for something else because you do not agree with it. But a man can do the same and let it go.
You see that point of I was raised to respect older people is valid. But you see, there's so much that goes on under the umbrella of respect.
Yes, that's one.
There's so much that goes on under the umbrella of respect. It's like, because I respect you, I don't want to say certain things. But you can
act a certain way.
You can say certain things without saying certain things.
But yes, I totally agree. You can be very clear about it, communicate clearly. But the point is, when you start analyzing or thinking deep about this, you just realize that this person has still said the same thing.
No, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, when you want to make your point, sometimes people get about it, and they are now linking it. Back to
even saying what you did not say.
Exactly. Personally, again, like you said, I was also raised to respect older people, but I was raised to ask questions. My mom will always say, "Something about
ask questions."
Ask questions. She always say, "Fight the status quo." If you don't want something the way it is because it has always been that way, that doesn't make it right. So in any setting I'm in, whether or not it has been like that for 25 plus years,
to find out
if I feel like, number one, it's outdated, number two, it's not functioning,
or there are better ways
to do it, I will make my point regardless of if you're a 500-year-old man sitting in that place. I will tell you, I need to make this clear. And this is the reason I'm saying it respectfully and with all due respect. But however you need to put it, with all due respect, usually however you need to phrase it. However you need to phrase it for them to understand that you're not patronizing them. At the same time, this is for the benefit of all of us. And if you need to say it repeatedly, to a point where they would get it, not repeatedly at the same time, because then they're like, you place yourself. Some of these things you need to pick your battles, particularly when it comes to relationship with older people. You need to pick your battles. You know when it's right for you to speak. You know when, and at the point where you need to speak, let there not be a situation where the older person is facing that because you're a woman, you need to speak to me in a certain way. I don't think it should apply. So when it does happen, accept yourself and make your point, but still make your point.
Yeah, true.
That's just fair, because I cannot keep having this you're a woman. Anybody that comes by every day, carry and Tom that passes by is going to be a woman me, and I get to take everything that's been done. Please do that with me. Okay. Don't do that.
It will shock you that this is part of why the dating pool nowadays is big. Because women are learning to take less and less and less of all of the men do. And they will clearly tell you that, look, I'm not in for this. You will not speak to me this way, and I will not be spoken to. And they get this conversation. They don't play with playing. And they'll be like, okay, act like this, and let's see if you find a man that will marry you. And then you're like, So that's why some of
well, subtle shade. when you say things like continue like this and let's see who's going to marry me. Oh yes,
At least as long as I'm not marrying you.
No, a better man. Someone who will love and respect
I'm
you
not
for
marrying
you.
you.
Yes, a better man. Who is going to marry you? Oh yes, a better man. A man you could never be.
Imagine raising your children and the man, what people don't understand or remember, maybe it's not that they don't understand. I feel like maybe they don't remember it enough. That the quality of person that you marry influences the quality of children.
Yeah,
that you raise at the end of
it tells on you also as a person.
Exactly. Imagine you embarrassing me in public because you're saying certain things about this woman.
It's okay.
And I'm like, let's not go. Let's not marry.
No, let's not.
Let's not do that.
And it actually goes both ways. So men do not think that we're just here talking for women. It goes both ways.
Definitely.
As a human being, stand up for certain things. Don't be inconsiderate. Know the things you want to take. Learn when to compromise and when not to, because there are some values of mine that see it is either here
or nowhere
or here. This is where it is. It's not coming anywhere down. This is just where it is, because there are certain things that my non-negotiables. Yes, I'll put them in that way. All right, it is 19 minutes to 10 on Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is Panorama. Panorama is where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. My name is Esther Alaribe, and I have with me on this Panorama Salah Special Edition Taiwo Adeleye and Somto Titilayo Ajama. Now, before we wrap up, there's this one of a lady who met a certain guy. So she has been speaking to this guy on social media for a couple of times already. She felt like, she knows this person to an extent. And all this online love, emojis everywhere, everybody's loving, throwing love and lights everywhere, social media kind of love too. So she got very, very comfortable with this guy online. E-comfortable. So e-comfortable.
Like that.
E-comfortable. So she got very guy online, chatting, messaging, timeline thing, kind of thing. Then at some point, the guy's birthday came. So this guy did not necessarily ask her to come visiting, but she was like, oh no, I should be able to spend quality time with this person on his birthday. Oh, this person is such a nice person. Mind you, they were not dating.
Yes,
it wasn't a relationship. So like, oh no, this person is a very nice person. I should be able to wish this person a happy birthday in person. And I totally understand, because I also kind of sweet like that. Okay. so yes, I understand. I totally understand that. But the thing that went sour in all of this was the fact that they met at this restaurant, and one thing led to another. She stood up for a while, and this guy had to spike her drink. And you know the thing, when she came back, she saw like the had gone wrong with this drink. This was not how I feel about it. I was, and they changed about this drink. She probably would have just ended her life somewhere.
In the same vein, they were hearing stories like this. Yeah. We're also hearing, people getting married on social media. You see, this does not necessarily you must be. And where discernment comes in, I don't even know how it plays. Sensitivity and discernment is a real thing. It's something that people should learn to. Your instinct cannot fail you. That's the truth of the matter. And a lot of people are not connected. But even when you're going with the flow, even when you're doing anyhow, so to speak, you're doing one kind, whatever the term is, you still need to trust your instinct. I bet you, even if she didn't see those bubbles, but she felt like there was something off at the atmosphere anymore. And sometimes it shifts from everything is really happy. And then when that happens, let's be conscious of it. Let's be conscious.
Another thing I want to raise for ladies is, so sometimes when I go out, even